Welcome back to Witness Stories. This one I call The Beach Boys. So, does the fairy realm exist? Frankly, this story will not resolve that for anyone else, but it does add to what I was told from many directions. But it confirms for me, personally, that something exists in there at some level of reality. So, we went to the beach. My wife and I had a weekend free without the kids. I was the stepfather, and the kids were with the biological dad every few weeks. It's a stressful lifestyle, I should say, especially when the kids are gone. But at least there is less work. So we needed a break, and we didn't have things to distract us from having a break. So we went to Long Beach in Washington State. It was a few hours drive, and we only expected to rest and relax for the day. We were tired, slightly depressed, and just expected to absorb some serenity and recover. The highway runs 15 or 20 miles north from the south end of the beach, which is the only way onto that beach. At the last parking area away from everyone and everything, we stopped at the parking area there, got out, went to the beach. We plopped a two-person sleeping bag onto the beach and sat down to listen to the ocean. But up the beach, I noticed a dead seal just north of our first position. That wasn't so much fun. So, since we had first sat to the north of the trail to the beach, we moved to the south side of the beach access. It's not important information, but that is what happened. By then, we were extremely weary, and we again set up to relax and watch the waves. But after a while, we fell in and out of sleep for the rest of the midday, just laying there on the beach, listening to the multi-layered sounds of wind and wave. Around 4 p.m., we were wanting to leave before getting hungry, planning to eat on the way back. But my wife, having sympathy for me, could see I was still very drowsy and suggested it was her turn to drive. We got packed up, back on the park roadway heading south to the connecting highway 15 miles or so ahead. I kind of sunk in and out of restful consciousness, glancing at the scenery as we drove, closing my eyes, glancing, closing my eyes. Just as we reached the last part of the roadway along the coast, the road started a long turn toward the inland, and in that opening gap where we were getting further away from the ocean, there was a field there with a fence. It had a handrail fence at the edges edges built of split logs and rolling mounds of grassland. For all the above, my mind was not at all oriented to what happened next. I cracked my eyes open, tilting my head to look out the window. Then I closed my eyes, and suddenly, in the after image, in my head I guess, but what I was viewing was a surprising scene. When you close your eyes, often the image that you just saw is in your sight still, if you notice. Most of us just ignore that. But this time the scene wasn't what I expected. You know how you can look and then shut your eyes and the full image is there for a second here? That's what I'm talking about. And this was a sight. But it was not exactly what I had expected. Yes, the field was there, the fence and the rolling mounds of grassland, just small versions of rolling hills, but also in this image in my head there was more. Across the stretch of the field, close to the car and on back into the mounds, there were many, many beings, all exactly the same, Some were slightly taller or smaller, but mostly the same. All had little brown leathery shirts on and darker pants, very tan faces, long blonde straight hair pressed back like it was combed in with a deep V in the center of the foreheads, just like that. They were all looking intensely seriously towards the spot behind me at my right, where it would have been when I seen them, while my eyes were open. But once my eyes were shut, it was like seeing the sight, but as if a half second later, when I was actually at 30 feet from there. Well, I guess I was what they were looking at. If, on the other hand, everything was in the moment, then they would be looking simply down that roadway we came from with an intense, serious look, almost leering and angry or on guard. I have learned later that your mind can fill in a representation matching to what it perceives and will mean something to you. The actual character of images selected from the catalog of types in your mind can handle, that's what it will do. But there you are. But at no time in my life do I remember seeing anything like this. These little guys looked like they belonged covered into the base of a totem pole. But I have never been able to find any totem pole with these guys included. So they look like the first entity totem people, I guess. The only conclusion I have from this is there is something real here, but nothing I can place into explanation for modern world interpretation. But as a crossover experience from fairyland level reality or the energy being world, okay, that's all I got. I did consult a medium later, and that medium told us that these guys were brownies. And you'll have to look up what a brownie is in fairyland folklore. I don't know if they're exactly what the urban legend says they are, but certainly an interesting image to pop into your head.